Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a CATS, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow Podcast.
Hey, Cats, I'm here with Kristen Brun. Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here. You know, you had me at improvisational theater.
It is definitely my different spin on it.
I love it. So, I mean, I think about improvisational theater in the corporate world, and like it just makes me giggle immediately. I mean, how does that all play out?
So it's interesting because the vast majority of people, when you suggest they take an improv class, will just say, no way, never, never in 1,000 years. There's a little bit of hesitation depending on the group sometimes. So there's kind of some soothing of people. It's like, oh, you're not going to have to do anything too terrifying. No performing in front of audiences at the stage. But it's once you really focus in on those exercises that are impactful for specific skill sets, that's where you really start to see people get into it.
Okay, so throw out a prompt.
A prompt?
Yeah, throw out a prompt. Let's go improv for a minute.
Well, I guess if we were starting for a suggestion, like a true stage improv, it would be something like a location. Should be like a kitchen.
Okay. And what do we do in this kitchen that helps us with our executive leadership?
Well, so if we're doing an exercise, for example, there's a lot of different ones that we can use that kind of help with different things. But for collaboration, one that I like is called like a one word at a time story. So you basically have people together telling a story as a team, but each person only says one word.
Oh,
So
fun.
as you go around the circle, it really keeps people conscious of the fact that you can't control the outcome. It's the group that's defining where the story is going. And so you have to relinquish some control and really listen, and you still get to make your own contribution.
You know, no one in corporate environments wants to be in control. I don't think there's any control issues there.
Not at all.
So how can we, be more bold and be stronger in these environments? I mean, I know you're a coach for executive teams. Like, what's your philosophy around that?
So I have a model of 5 different areas that I kind of focus my coaching, and especially like if I do a training or workshop, I focus in on that. But really the center of it is presence. And I say that presence starts with being present. So
There is that. You'd have to show up in the room, right?
And like being present more than just physically being present, mind and body, which is the harder part, honestly. And that includes things like listening, which is a skill many of us struggle with naturally.
Is this a class for women and men, or just for men?
It's open to everyone.
Oh, okay.
Some people benefit more than
I was
others.
just curious.
Yes, but that really gets into learning being in the present moment and in getting to that point of listening where you have so much awareness of what's happening that responding in a way that is taking all that into consideration becomes really natural. That's a lot of what improv teaches you, is like training those muscles. So that's really the center of it. And then the other kind of 4 areas are around creativity, resilience, authenticity, and supportiveness.
You know, authenticity is like a real buzzword today. Everyone's like, oh, I'm so authentic. But what does authenticity really mean to you?
For me, I think it's being able to be your true self in the workplace as a leader. And it really creates it's that having like a little bit of vulnerability and being able to like show that realness really just creates trust over time. And there's also just this sense of relief that happens when your leader
You're a real human.
acknowledges it. Yeah, like you're a real human, and like say like there's something big that just happened, like layoffs, for example, because that's a thing these days. And if the leader just doesn't acknowledge it or tries to just jump over it or give the corporate speak around it, there's just going to be this tension in there where everybody feels it. Whereas when you have a leader who actually just openly acknowledges things and then moves on, you can really just feel like the tension leave the room often.
Yeah, I do think that, we have these kinds of communication patterns that we feel we need to follow, and that we all know it's bullshit, right? So we're sitting there and we're like, boy, did you rehearse that at home? Like, we just know like it's not spontaneous or our true voice. It's just this, I don't know, this little script that's out there that nobody really believes anyway. I mean, as a coach, what do you think is true for people around all of that type of language and scripting? And why is it so important to just break through that? And like you said, improv from a place of what is your truth?
Right. I mean, it's fundamentally most important because really life is improvisation. We're always making things up as we go constantly. And
no entrepreneurs ever do that.
Yeah, no, never.
No one's ever making it up as they go along.
Fake it till you make it is not
That's
no.
right.
But it really is, and it's true in the workplace too. I mean, you can work on your presentation skills by taking classes and learning how to create the perfect PowerPoint and improving your speaking and your presence. And that's all really impactful. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to respond when things go off book, which it will constantly. So it really helps train for those situations. And I think getting people off of their script is helpful both in, like I said, showing your team that you're a real person, but it also is really helpful in making decisions too, because it helps you get more in touch with what your instinct is, and learning to trust that and go with it can down the road make a lot better decisions.
So let's shift gears to female entrepreneurs like you. What's the one thing that you did in your career that changed everything for you?
So it's back on the improv train. There are really a couple things. I mean, I had an inclination towards entrepreneurship just because my dad was a small business coach and facilitator. So I got some osmosis from that, but I didn't quite know how it was going to come into play. And really when I started doing improv, which was for fun originally, it still is for fun, but I started realizing how much it was impacting my career for the positive. And I was much more confident and much more self-aware and better able to handle difficult conversations that came up. And I was really in touch with my creativity. So that was really what inspired me. I just was seeing these changes in myself over, a period of years. And I think a couple years in, I started just getting this idea of like how that could actually be put together into a business.
I really love this idea. I mean, give us like a little micro training. So, okay, we all want to be better at improv. So how does it work? We kind of pay attention to what the other person's saying, and then we pick a thread out of that, or what's just the baseline training around improv?
So it's really based on specific skill sets and needs. So I like to tailor it as much as possible to what the focus of that workshop is. But basically there's principles, there's a high level principles, and then there's exercises that we use to enforce them. So, which are also known as games. in the improv
Okay,
world.
well, I mean, just in improv in general, not inside your business practice, but just improv in general, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, we have to improvise, right? Like we have to, say, oh, I have that exact same thing ready right now to give to you. And then we're like filling in the spaces, just to carry it forward. So I feel like improvisation is not just a skill in the corporate workplace, but I also feel like it's a really powerful skill to be developed for entrepreneurs. So if you were to give entrepreneurs a little tip about using improvisation as another tool inside their business, what would you say to them?
So there's a lot of different ways to learn it. They can go the route of taking improv classes, which of course I will recommend to anyone because
So much
it's
fun.
amazing. So much fun and beneficial, and so much fun, and the community is amazing. But if that's not a realistic thing for whatever reason, there's a lot of books and curriculums out there, but I really think it comes down to start with mindfulness, and then there's some exercises that you can do on your own depending on kind of like what it is you're really trying to improve. But a lot of these improv games that we would use in a class, which are really exercises, can be structured for one person so that you can do them at home, and then you can really keep training your brain, because it's like with anything, you're basically building new neural pathways. So you have to kind of give it that practice over time to really see a true difference in how you're responding to everything as an entrepreneur. But it's definitely worthwhile.
It sounds so much fun. My son is in performing arts in Colorado. He goes to UC Boulder. And so
Nice.
he took improv classes, and I always thought it was like so fun when he would come back and tell me about where the class would go with all the different, conversations and skits and fun things that they do. So I just love what you're talking about.
Awesome. Yeah, you really don't get a chance to play often as an adult.
Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun. So what's next for you?
So at this point in my business, I am kind of looking into expanding my curriculum offering, doing a variety of speaking things in there. But yeah, down the road, I definitely plan to keep expanding my offerings, and working with more people, right, bringing more people on board. And it's probably only a matter of time before I write a book. So I
love it. Where can we find you, Kristen?
So my website is emboldify.com, which is EMBOLDIFY. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I primarily use my personal account, which is Kristen Brun. All one word is the handle.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the Big Meow.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by Cats Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at Cats Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated, sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join Cats Network. Cats Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, Cats is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's CATS networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.